everybody! So this week we were given the third episode of Shadowhunters. It is titled Dead Man's Party, and while it was focused around finding Simon, I really feel like Alec owned this episode. In the beginning of this episode, we are shown Clary trying to convince Jace, Alec, and Izzy to help her go and rescue Simon. She gives this whole speech about how they're supposed to be the ones that protect the mundanes, the humans, and she kind of guilt trips them and gets them to help her, while Alec is still just not on board with this, and he continuously throughout the episode questions Jace's motives, and he pretty much has Jace's card. During the whole episode, Clary is being shown by Jace how to do certain Shadowhunter things, and parts of it are really great. Parts of it I didn't like. One of the things I thought was kind of amusing was when she was told to flirt with a vampire, and unknowingly Jace was using that as a way to distract the vampire, attack it, and then steal his motorcycle. Okay, you guys, these motorcycles, straight out of the books. I love it. They run on demon energy, and of course they did the flying motorcycle. I am so happy they included that. That was one of my favorite things in the books, and I really love the way it was shown on screen. Also, between Clary and Jace in the episode, we see a lot of talk between them, flirtiness, and then there's this awkward talk about love with Jace. And the way it was acted, I thought was very well done, actually. While certain other scenes I wasn't too keen on, but this one I was pretty cool with. Now, Jace in the episode, I'm really digging Dom as Jace, especially in this episode. One of the things I really liked with Jace in the episode was the scene where we saw Izzy, him, Alec, and Clary go to a church graveyard and go to open a grave and take some Shadowhunter weapons. It was very funny, and the way it was done I really liked, especially when Alec came in and started arguing with Jace, and they start talking about their parabatai bond, and it's good stuff. I really liked that scene. Another Jace scene that I really loved was when he said to Alec, "Go look by the angel," and it was subtle enough that some people might not have caught it, but it was a little thrown in our faces to where some people probably did catch it, and I was one of the ones that caught it, and I'm so happy that it wasn't overly done, but it was subtle. Clary gets shown by Jace how to wield a seraph blade, and it's all kinds of awesome, but there are some scenes where I was just a little iffy on with Clary in this episode. Another thing that I thought was a bit soon, but I guess I can't really complain, it's whatever, but Jace ruined Clary up big time in this episode, and I thought that was a little much, maybe? Alright guys, so onto a scene that I really need to talk about and I have a lot of issues with. Now, while I enjoyed it, because this scene exists, certain scenes from the book cannot. I'm talking about the scene between Simon, Camille, and Raphael. While I loved all the vampy bits, oh, why did they do that? I don't know, but the scene is totally different, which means we are not going to get to see. This is a spoiler from the books, but it's not going to happen. If it happens in the show now, it would be weird. I don't know. They might still do it. I don't know. But because this scene happened between Simon and Camille and her biting him and giving him her blood and all this stuff, I don't think we're going to see Simon turned into a rat. We weren't shown that in the movie, and I don't think we're going to be shown that in the show. If we are, I don't know. One thing I liked about Raphael though was, even though I didn't like most of his scenes in the episode, I did like the part where he let Simon go, whereas Camille told him to kill him, and he tells Jace, "Remember who your friends are." I really liked that scene, and now I am loving Raphael. The Encanto vampires freezing time. I understand the way that the Encanto is supposed to lure in the humans and kind of put them under their thrall, but I do not like the part where they like freezed Simon. Vampires can all of a sudden like freeze time or freeze people? What? I don't know what is happening. I don't know, you guys. I don't know. I did not like that. I'm sorry for those of you that did like it. One part of all the scenes in the Hotel du Mort between Simon and the vamps that I really liked was the scene where Simon threw a dagger at Raphael and Raphael got pissed about Simon ruining his new jacket. That was a really great scene to show how they're going to be towards each other later in the show and how they kind of are in the books. They don't like each other, but they tolerate each other? Not really. Another thing that I wasn't really cool with and I was just meh about was the Izzy and Meliorn scene. I don't know, it's just not really how I pictured them, and that's all I can really say about that. I mean, it's not a scene that's really in the books, but I just don't know about the way it looked or the way it was. I don't know. Something was just, I don't know about it. Some of the things I really liked with Izzy in this episode, though, were the fairy jokes and just the cute banter between her and Alec and Jace. And the way that Izzy told Alec that if he stopped repressing his feelings so much, he would be happier. His eye roll in response was just amazing. I loved it. It had me in a fit of giggles. One other scene that I really loved was the scene between Alec and Hodge when Alec snuck into the Institute to get his bow and arrows. Hodge basically tells Alec to not live in the shadow of Jace like Hodge did when he was younger with the circle and all of his friends. He was just kind of in the shadow of everyone. And I just love the way that scene went. And of course, when Hodge said Valentine, the circle mark started to burn again. I really want to learn more about that mark and all of that. Now on to the one scene that I really just didn't dig was when Jace, Clary, Alec, and Isabel come and rescue him. And there's just this really awkward scene between Clary and Simon. I just didn't really like the way it was done, and I thought it could have been a little bit better. The one thing that I did like about this final scene, though, was the scene between Jace and Alec when Jace just kind of loses it with Alec and tells him off. And this is going to start off my favorite quotes for the episode. Alec responds with, "I'm older than you, Jace. I'm not in your shadow." That was a really great line, and the way Matthew Daddario acted it out was just perfect. Another one of my favorite quotes of this episode was said by Izzy when she said, "Whoever said the pen is mightier than the sword was an idiot." I really liked that. I really liked that. It was a definite Izzy thing to say. One last quote that I really loved was when Alex said to Izzy, "Great job, Izzy. You have fairy dust on your dress." I really loved that. I really loved that. Alec and Izzy, they are just so great. I am loving their brother-sister relationship. It is perfect and just how I've always wanted to see it on screen. Matthew Daddario as Alec, he's killing it. I think he owned this episode, and second place for this episode would definitely be Alberto as Simon. And then probably Dom as Jace. I think the guys really owned this episode, and I cannot wait to see Magnus in next week's episode. I hope y'all enjoyed this recap and review. Continue to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye, guys!